Again, hey, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Charity, and I am the executive assistant with Host to Host. I basically help facilitate these events, send out all these fun communications you receive, and am available to answer any questions that you might have about your membership with Host to Host, about how you can get more involved, things like that. So you can always email me or send me a little chat in the chat box. Hey, Edward, we've got a greeting sent to everybody there. So as a reminder, the chat box is your tool. It is your way to engage with everyone on the call. You can ask questions there, and we will be kind of holding them until a little bit later of a time. We're going to let our speaker sort of get through their presentation, and then we will definitely be opening things up for questions, and we'll definitely be seeking your contributions at that time. But if something comes up and pops into your head in the meantime, feel free to enter that in the chat, and we'll make sure to table it until a later time. So
thanks,
without further ado, we'll go ahead and turn things over to Anthony Rollo. Anthony is one of our esteemed board members on our Host to Host board of directors. And he is kind of our tech guy. So I'm really glad that he could be here to help learn more about this and help guide us and guide our conversation here. So Anthony?
Awesome. Thanks, Charity. We look forward to everyone here. The room will probably continue to fill up. If there are questions along the way, again, let's use the raise hand function, as Charity mentioned. And if you don't mind staying on mute while we're having our presentation, that would be much appreciated. But thank you for the gracious introduction. Are we posting a poll now? Yes, we are posting a poll right now. Okay. Before I make my quick introduction.
Sorry about that. I thought I would kind of get things going while people get settled. So don't mind me and my little poll intrusion. I apologize. I'm a little late there.
No sweat, no sweat. Before I even let you know what you're here for, a quick question has popped up, and all you got to do is you're in front of your computer on your phone is answer two questions. Are you happy with your cleaners? Pretty yes or no. And then what causes you the most stress today? And there's 3 items on there. I'll let you pick them, and that will be helpful and informative for our very special sponsors, Breezeway, who's brought you this event today. And we have Madison Romeli from Breezeway, who will be taking you through a lot of good stuff. Technology is like so pervasive in the short-term rental business, and I think honestly for people, even for myself, who loves technology, it can be overwhelming. And there's so many things that you want to get done, from guest communication to asset management, or if you're managing other people's properties, like owner tools. And there's like probably an app or a tool for every single one of them and components of them as well. So Breezeway is going to talk about the tech stack and a lot of things that can really help you save time and really lower your stress level, because this is not passive. I think a lot of people who haven't been in this business for a while may have thought, from influencers and such, that it was a passive business. It's not. It's very active. You can automate a lot of it, and you can be smart about it, and you're going to be much more appreciated from your guest view as you become a more hospitable host. And Breezeway has some wonderful ways that they will take us through that have options to make decisions from a technology perspective and really help you out. So without further ado, I will let Madison talk about Breezeway and take it away. Also, one quick reminder, there is an event giveaway. Thanks to Breezeway as well. There's a $100 Amazon gift card for anyone who is registered today. Attended and registered. So Madison, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you, Anthony. And yeah, if everyone sticks around to the end here, we'll go ahead and announce the raffle winner, which will be exciting. Also have some time for open discussion, but I'm super excited to be here, and thank you all for joining. I'm actually going to go ahead and get my screen shared. for you guys to view. We have a little presentation put together. So let me get that up for you all. Awesome. Little bit of some insight of what we're going to cover today. Anthony had mentioned the term tech stack. I think that's a really common phrase used in the industry. And so we're going to speak to what some of those components look like. And again, we'll have some time for open discussion at the end too, if you guys have questions around that. But we're really going to touch on how you can leverage technology within the vacation rental space. Hospitality as a whole has been pretty behind on the technology curve, I'd say. We really just started catching up the past 3 years, but things have been done pretty manually before then. So we're going to speak to how you can leverage Breezeway specifically, but also just in general, build out your tech stack and kind of what to expect and start that conversation there. So I'm really excited to get into it. Little bit of an intro about myself. I come from an interesting place. So I am with Breezeway today, but prior to joining the Breezeway team, I worked for a startup management company in Austin, Texas. I helped them build their tech stack, scale their business. When I came on, we started with roughly 5 properties, scaled to 50 in a little over a year. Really quickly. I had no experience, just kind of immersed myself in the space. So I get really excited speaking to these things. As Charity and Anthony mentioned, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat and we'll make sure to have some open discussion here. So little bit of an overview. We'll do an intro to Breezeway. We're going to talk about how you can leverage technology at your vacation rentals today. And then we'll actually go through a little demo of Breezeway so you can see how our platform works in action. Quick intro of Breezeway. If you aren't already familiar with the Breezeway platform, we were founded in 2017 as an operations tool. And we really help hosts today professionalize their business. We're being used across 80 different countries, so we're pretty well known in the space. And we have a ton of partnerships, pushing 50 today. So a lot of those partnerships are with PMS tools, being property management softwares, and I could speak to that as we walk through the rest of this presentation a little bit here. But we're also partnered with Airbnb, which is really exciting. And so this partnership, it's most exciting to me, just launched late last year, I should say, and it really, again, just empowers hosts to self-manage their properties. So we'll speak to how that works as we get going here. Gonna outline the Breezeway platform, give you guys an overview here with some visuals. So again, as I mentioned, we started as just an operations tool. And so this really helps use technology to manage the day-to-day work happening at all of your properties. Well, since we launched, we realized how closely related the guest experience is to the work being done day to day. So we also have a guest-facing guidebook, we have automated messaging tools, and we have an assist team. And our assist team provides 24/7 guest support for your hosting business. And so this is a really great way to outsource guest communication. Now, all of these tools working together can be so impactful for your business, because now not only do you have these individual solutions, but you're able to leverage them together, create new automations through them working together, and have one centralized platform. So going back to what I had kind of mentioned when I first started here was your tech stack. People are trying to figure out, what should I prioritize? There's so many options out there. It's confusing. And it's true. There are a lot of options out there. I wouldn't say a guidebook is, groundbreaking and unique to Breezeway, but when you use it with your operations, it can be really, really powerful. So we're going to speak through more of that, and you guys will actually get to see what the guidebook, messaging, and operations platform looks like, which is exciting. Before touching on some of these things a little bit further, I want to just walk through the guest experience. Speaking from my experience, and I'm sure you guys can relate to a lot of these things, but providing a really good guest experience is tedious. And there's a lot of thought that goes into it. It's a very thoughtful job, I'd say, because you have your pre-stay, you have to manage the stay, the booking, the reservation, right? And then you have post-stay. And so we're going to talk through how Breezeway can help automate and enhance some of these things on your end by saving you time, but also elevating the guest experience. So we'll get into 4 specific ways here, starting with your property readiness. This hands down has to be the most important thing because you have guests checking in and you need to make sure your property is ready for guest check-in. So as I mentioned, you know, this maybe was done through manually scheduling cleaners, hoping that things are cleaned properly, maybe receiving like a bunch of photos or a video over text. There's not a lot of systems in place when you don't have an operations tool. So we'll speak through how Breezeway can allow you to automate all of your cleans, ensure nothing's going to slip through the cracks, and have the documentation that you're looking for in between each reservation. Another piece being guest communication. It's really important that as hosts, we're providing professional and timely responses here. And so I'm going to speak to the Breezeway inbox. We're going to jump in there and I'll show you how you have full visibility now into all of your day-to-day work. So from task management to just individual guest communication. And then with our messaging platform, we really think out of the box with automation. So because you leverage this with an operations tool, you can now automate things like early check-in, notify your cleaners of early checkout, buy them back time. We have revenue boosting tools that I'm going to touch on as well. That's really exciting. And then with guest communication, it's really important that you make the guest experience as easy as possible. I like to refer to this thing called vacation brain. Guests tend to forget, you know, exactly what to do, where things are. And so you need to make sure that they have all the information that they need at the right time and it's not overwhelming. I think it's common to send out a really long paragraph or paragraphs of arrival instructions. And so finding ways to condense this down, maybe through a guidebook, like you'll see a little preview to on the right-hand side here, can be really impactful. And then last thing that we're going to touch on is Breezeway Assist. And so Breezeway Assist is going to give you peace of mind. We're going to handle all of your guest communication. I think it's totally normal. Should not be shamed to say that you want to take time off or go on a vacation and just shut off from your rental business. And so this allows you to do exactly that. And when we get to this piece, we'll actually talk through the logistics of what that looks like and how your handoff works with our team. So that being said, we're going to jump into the demo here. I think there were a couple chats coming through. Awesome. Yeah, so does Breezeway integrate with my PMS system? Yes, we integrate with most PMS tools. If we want to get specific at the end, we can talk about what PMS you're using and what that integration looks like. Alrighty, I'm going to jump into the platform here. So we're starting off in operations, a little bit of an overview. You'll have a property schedule in Breezeway. You're going to be able to see your properties on the left-hand side. Breezeway is going to pull over all of your reservations into your calendar view here. So you have visibility into those reservations, which are these gray bars. And then you'll notice these icons throughout. These icons are your daily tasks. So now you have this combined property schedule view. All of your tasks are also color-coded, so it's really easy to see when you have things assigned, unassigned, in progress, completed, past due, just at a quick glance here. And as I mentioned, Breezeway wants to automate as much as possible for you. So for an example, we have a checkout today. We went ahead and automated a standard departure clean and even assigned it out to our cleaner. So every time you get a new reservation, we're creating that task and we're notifying your cleaner. And this can be done through email, text, push notifications. So you can really take a step back from having a schedule and play that messenger. I like to break down what a task actually looks like for you guys so you can just understand that a little bit further. Not only is Breezeway helping you manage your cleans, but you can also track inspections and maintenance all in one place here. You have the ability to add in checklists, which we also like to refer to as templates, and you can have an entire library of those. So if you have certain standards or things that need to be done for specific tasks, that can be clearly outlined for your team. Luckily, in that poll that Charity put up, majority of you are happy with your cleaners, which is amazing, and you guys are all very lucky, but there was a handful of you that were like, not so much, things are getting missed. This is a really good tool to use to ensure that you're getting the quality of cleans that you're looking for. Also worth mentioning that you can track and pay your cleaners within Breezeway as well, whether that's hourly or per task. And you can schedule any of your tasks reoccurring on a calendar basis. So when you think of things like landscaping, trash pickup, air filter changes, pool cleanings, list could go on. All of that can be living in one place, along with those automations that we spoke to with cleaning. And so you'll have a mobile app that your cleaners or your field staff will be able to access to view their schedule updated in real time, communicate documentation to you throughout the task. And that's going to push through to your dashboard or really anywhere in Breezeway. But I like to highlight the dashboard because it gives you a centralized view. So in the Breezeway dashboard, you're getting a bird's eye view of your day. You have number of tasks at the top here for the day. You'll be able to see your properties on the left-hand side. Again, we're pulling through those reservations so you can see that at a quick glance. You have your property status in the middle for the day, and then we can quickly view all of our tasks. So for an example, we have this departure clean at our property here that's in progress. We can see comments that come through from our cleaners to quickly communicate with our team if we have multiple turns or multiple tasks happening. And then your cleaners or your field staff are able to also report issues to you. So again, tracking that maintenance, centralizing everything in one place, you're now able to maybe assign this out to a maintenance personnel, or maybe you schedule it based off of your availability. So everything is just at a quick glance, and you have all of your reservations and tasks in one place. Now, we're going to shift gears here, so bear with me. I'm going to jump into the guidebook, and then we're going to speak to how guide and messaging can also work with your operations for additional automation, make your life easier. Jumping into the Breezeway guide, you have this really nice interface. This is a web-based app, and I emphasize web-based app because your guest won't have to download anything. So this is actually just shared with them through a URL link. These guides are specific to your property and reservations, which is pretty impactful. And then speaking through providing your guests with the right information at the right time, we break up the stay into 3 sections. So you can ensure that your guests are going to have the exact arrival details they need before check-in. After check-in, you can get ahead of common questions that come up with this mid-stay page here. And then you also have a departure page. You can remind your guests of their checkout date and time, instructions, whatever other information you need to include in there. All of these templates are customizable. But the one thing that I really want to highlight is our contact page here. And this is very unique to the Breezeway guide. So this allows us to stand out from any other guidebook out there. And this is where the value comes with your operations. So if something comes up during a stay, your guest can actually report this to you through a description, through photos. Once this is submitted, we'll create a task for you under that property, and then you'll be notified through email, text, or push notifications. So you know exactly what's going on and can resolve that issue for your guest. And then when we speak to, great, this guidebook looks amazing, but how are my guests getting that? That will take us into messaging here. So walking through our messaging platform, again, this is really impactful because you now have your guest communication centralized in the same platform as the work being done at your properties. So you could really manage the day-to-day in one place. We have a ton of automations that I want to speak to. I'll narrow it down to just a few here, starting with pre-arrival instructions. We talked about how, or I mentioned how it can be common to send all these long paragraphs of instructions before a stay. This actually allows you to keep that message pretty short and sweet, and we embed your reservation-specific guide link for your guest. This message, or really all of these messages, can either be sent through SMS texting to your guest if you have a PMS integration, or directly through the Airbnb platform. The two messages that I want to highlight that are most impactful and very specific to Breezeway, in my opinion, because of our operations connection there, would be a property readiness message. So early check-in is such a common ask, and standards are changing with our guests. They're evolving, they have higher expectations, and so this is something that is pretty common nowadays. So when this is turned on, we can actually notify your guests when they're eligible to check in early. So when your clean's completed, your property status is ready, we'll go ahead and we'll automate that notification to your guests that they're able to come in early. And when you think about the value this brings, you're elevating the guest experience, trying to drive a 5-star review, but then lucky you no longer have to do the coordination between your guests, your cleaner, and all of that back and forth. And then on the flip side, we have a checkout reminder, and a checkout reminder can be pretty standard. I think most people send this today, but Breezeway's is interactive. So if your guest leaves before their standard checkout time, and as a part of instructions, we'll direct them to send a checkout message. Breezeway will notify your cleaner that they're actually able to access the property early. This is very, very impactful because you're now buying back your cleaner's time. When you give them a larger gap to clean in, it's less pressure, so quality of work is going to be there. And then the end goal would be to get that next guest in early, which again is then enhancing the experience, helping drive those 5-star reviews. One more automation that I want to touch on here for messaging would be our gap night technology. I kind of mentioned that we had revenue boosting tools. I really love speaking to this. So this is another automated message that goes out to an arriving or departing guest at your property. You get to control exactly when this is sent. You can also customize any of these messages, but this one specifically should prompt your guests to extend their stay. So if you have a 2-night booking minimum and a 1-night gap in your calendar, this message is going to go out to your guests, and this is going to create a lead and an opportunity for you. So our gap night technology is helping you increase occupancy and maximize your revenue. And we just recently looked back at 2023 and all of our clients that had this active. We're actually able to fill roughly 10% of their gap nights. So this is a very, very impactful tool. When you think about adding in technology to your business, that's an additional expense, and that's something that needs to be considered. And so this is a really great way for the platform to just essentially pay for itself by driving that additional revenue. Alrighty, last but not least, I want to touch on Assist. So Breezeway Assist is really impactful if you're looking to outsource communication. There's a lot of talk around VAs. When you look at a virtual assistant, you're still having to train them. You have the risk of turnover. They're only set for a limited amount of hours. Our Breezeway Assist team is 24/7 support for your guest. And so you'll have full access into what that communication would look like. Rather than seeing maybe Shane or your name here, this would say the Breezeway Assist team. So we work out of your inbox. And the number that we give you goes from just a texting number to also a call center as well, which is amazing. Best way for me to wrap this up would be through a workflow here. There we go. So let's talk through what that communication flow looks like. Again, your guest can call or text at any hour of the day. Our Assist team, which is made up of full-time Breezeway employees, will review all of your property details and business processes that we have documented. Now, roughly 90% of the time, we're able to just resolve communication. Other 10% of the time, maybe because of a property issue or an emergency. Now, if this were the case, we're still facilitating communication with your guests, and we're actually documenting these issues within your operations as a task. So for, let's say, that broken oven, we're going to notify you through the Breezeway platform. But let's say there's something a little bit more urgent and there's a pipe burst at the property. That would be considered an emergency, right? So we're still communicating with your guest. We're still documenting these things, but then we can also escalate those to you or the best point of contact through a phone call as well. And so this is really beneficial to your time because your time is so valuable, but also the guest experience as well. Response times are amazing. Our team picks up a call, I'd say within 10 to 20 seconds, and then we're responding to text messages in roughly 3 minutes. So very quick response rate. And again, going back to that peace of mind, I know I would lose sleep over like 2 a.m. messages coming through, or a guest is locked out at 11 p.m. So you can leave all those little things to our team and we'll take it over. I've been neglecting our chat here, so bear with me. I think we'll get to these maybe with the Q&A. I want to make sure I answer all of your guys' questions.
Yeah, we're collecting them. Thanks,
Okay.
Madison.
Cool. I want to highlight pricing. So this is our standard pricing. Everything's billed month to month. It's per unit per month. You can have as many users as you need in the platform. It's just per property. We do have a special. So for all of our host-to-host members for the month of May, we're offering discounted pricing, which I have highlighted here. I'll walk you through the plans. So our pro plan at the discounted price of $14.99 includes operations, messaging, and our guidebook. And then the elite plan that you see at $39.99 includes all of those things along with that 24/7 guest support. And now that I have this page up, I also just realized I missed out on something major. You can also pay your cleaners through Breezeway or pay your team through Breezeway. So if anyone has questions on that, let me know and we can touch on that as well as we get into Q&A here. I jumped ahead, but I have another little poll for us. I think Charity's gonna put this out there in the next minute or two. No rush, Charity. If you guys are interested in getting started with Breezeway, I can speak to what that looks like. So we have an agreement that locks in that special pricing that we just talked about and defines the tier that you want to go with. With that, you get paired with an implementation specialist, and we'll walk you through best practices and what goes into setting up something like this and some training. Usually, if you have a handful of properties, this is something that can be implemented in a week's time. It is self-paced, and we want to give you the support that you need up front. So we have that, our implementation team there for you. What I'm going to do is drop in my email personally in the chat here. And I'll also include a link to group demos. We went through a pretty good high-level demo today, but I run these every day throughout the week. So if you're interested in joining another demo down the road, you guys are welcome to sign up through here as well. Let me enter that in. And then we'll get into Q&A. So Anthony, if you want to take us away there.
Yeah, thanks, Madison. That was awesome. I think you guys have continued to add more functionality to your platform since the last time I certainly saw it. So kudos to you. And it was a nice quick demo to kind of go through some of the key items. And we may have answered some of the questions along the way here, but I'll kind of go down the list here and bring them up so that we can have them answered live. If there are follow-ups from the person or people who have interest in the answers to these questions, again, you can use the raise hand functionality, and we can answer some things live too. And if you didn't put it in anything in the chat, you can also raise your hand to speak live as well. for those who are not shy. Not saying that you put it in the chat makes you shy, but you're welcome to also speak. All right, so this was a very important question, and Godfrey, thank you for asking this. And I didn't see it in any of the slides, but I know you said there was a lot. What PMS systems, I don't know if that's redundant, PMS systems, but do you guys integrate with directly?
Yeah, so we integrate with almost 50 different partners today. What I'm going to actually do,
Which ones don't you integrate with? No,
right?
I'm sorry.
That is the better question. What I'll do is pull up on my screen here our integrations page, and I'll also
Awesome.
drop this into the chat. If anyone has specific integrations that they're curious about, let me know, because I'm happy to touch on that for you. But Breezeway integrations will outline all of our partners here. So if you're looking for a PMS, this is a great resource. If you just want to see, you know, if yours is connected, we likely are. If we aren't, message me, we'll talk about it. But I do want to mention one thing since this is coming up. A PMS is a really great addition to your tech stack, but I think there's a right time for it, and it's not always necessary. A PMS tool is really going to be most beneficial if your main priority is to cross-market your listings and bring in direct bookings. I like to refer to a PMS as a reservation hub or a reservation manager, because you are, you know, posting your listings on all of these channels and you have that centralized calendar. Breezeway integrates with those PMS tools by pulling over all of your reservation details so you can then manage the day-to-day and the guest experience. This isn't always necessary, and that's why I get so excited about this Airbnb partnership. If you don't feel the need to cross-market your listings and you just want to start driving revenue, a really great way to get started is just to connect your Airbnb platform and then work with all of the automations that way.
Cool, that helps. I could see that there are a good amount of redundancies if someone had a PMS and Breezeway. So if you didn't have a PMS, Breezeway could offer some really good advantages that without having to stack the two of them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thanks, Madison. I think you did a great job of going through which products Breezeway offers, and again, I'm going to say they're not exactly products; they're tiers of service levels, but one product. And so that was, I think, pretty clear to me, where the Elite is definitely the one that has the huge benefit of the Breezeway Assist. So thank you for sharing that. Going down to the next question, Edward had asked, in what ways can automation be leveraged to optimize operational efficiency without sacrificing personalized guest experiences? And the follow-up question on that too is, what role do chatbots and virtual assistants play in improving guest satisfaction and reducing wait time for assistants? I think this is, in the world of AI, is an extremely important balance, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that, Madison.
Yeah, you kind of like got muffled away there, so sorry if
I'm sorry.
Misheard some of this, but the first part of the question was, how do you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, so what ways can automation be leveraged to optimize operational efficiency without sacrificing personalized guest experiences?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I love that question because it means you're being conscious of like the human touch and like, you know, still providing that one-on-one personalized experience versus talking to a robot. Because I know if I call somewhere and I'm speaking to a robot, I'm just like, you know, pressing 0 a million times until I get to speak to an actual human. So with Breezeway, we're not necessarily saying to get rid of the human touch whatsoever. We're finding ways to automate things like, you know, create more time for your cleaners for cleaning, or automate a message to your guests when they can check in early with task completion. And so there are ways to personalize those messages as well. And I'm happy to just jump back into messaging here. If we look at our automated messages, any of these templates can be customized, and we have your reservation details, so you are able to personalize those messages. And then, you know, thinking back to that guide, the guide specific to the reservation. So you're going to get personalizations there as well, which is pretty great. And then to the second point of that question, speaking to Breezeway Assist, we do leverage AI technology. However, we're not automating messaging through the AI technology. What AI does in our system is quickly pulls your data and it produces suggested responses. But we have an entire team of full-time Breezeway Assist agents who are actually reviewing those messages, authorizing them. They're the ones answering the phones, or they're typing out unique responses if needed in those certain cases. So we lean into technology, but we're not trying to just run with technology.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I think that's certainly very helpful. And I know we're all kind of struggling with that a little bit. It looks like Godfrey had a handful of questions following as well. One is a little more directed toward, I'd say, the marketing position that Breezeway has out there, where you use the phrase elevate a lot. And so maybe speaking to that with a lens on customized alerts and updates that users can receive from Breezeway. So elevate is kind of seems like a lot of marketing speak there, and they're curious about it. But what kind of customization is offered that users can get directly in the platform?
Yeah, so Elevate, we use Elevate all the time, but for a good reason. And that's just because guest expectations are changing. And so hosts are left with no choice but to elevate the guest experience. And when you think about it and start to compare year after year, guests expect this hotel experience, but that's not always as manageable when you have, a property 3 states away and you're not there to provide this type of service. So we lean into elevating the guest experience with Breezeway to meet those hotel expectations as much as possible, right? And that's without you having to, push aside a full-time job or whatever it may be. It gives you some of your time back while still elevating the experience, because at the end of the day, our main goal, and likely your main goal, is to drive 5-star reviews. So that's what we're doing there. When it comes to customizations within Breezeway, the Breezeway platform is used by hundreds of hosts with just one property, but we also have an entire segment of large management companies with hundreds of properties. And so I kind of think that speaks to the customization itself. If you want one example, everyone's cleaning standards are going to look a little bit different. And that differs from property to property. So you're able to customize, needs for each of your properties within cleaning checklists, communicate that to your cleaners. And I'm happy to speak to more customizations if you guys have specific questions to that.
Thank you. I think that's super helpful. You clearly outlined a lot of the benefits of those customizations and how they can be helpful. Joel had a question here, and I think this is appropriate. It ties into the whole personalization, but less from a guest facing and more of a team facing. So teams, meaning our partners, our cleaners. He's indicated that it seems like communicating with them is more one way. And as a great manager, Joel is saying, we treat our cleaners as partners. How can Breezeway facilitate two-way communication so it's not more of a demand, but a negotiation kind of if and when needed?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love this because cleaners keep your business afloat, and I stand by that. And it's the most important relationship. I think it's more important than like the guest relationships or your owner relationships. Like, you need your cleaners. And so with that, maybe how, I think like when you first get introduced to Breezeway, it seems almost too good to be true and like selfish in a way. And you're just like pushing it on your cleaners, but this is actually a two-way tool. So your cleaners aren't having to rely on you to be a messenger, to update their schedule or to send over a last minute change. That's all automated. And so that alleviates, frustrations there, and it helps with communication. They get quicker answers, which is amazing. And then thinking about how they can now leverage these tasks and these checklists, they can submit photos through the Breezeway app to you, or they can alert you of issues at the property. So this is protecting them, and it's making them more efficient day to day. Our Breezeway app, which we didn't get into, but I do cover on the community demos that I run, was designed for cleaners. So it's supposed to help and empower them by giving them all the information that they need to set them up for success. And then I'll add in one more thing with messaging. If you can buy back your cleaner's time, that is a huge selling point for cleaners. That can actually make or break them wanting to jump into a new system, because you're giving them now all of this like time back and helping them better manage their schedule.
Cool. I like that a lot. I know we have a cleaning team that uses Breezeway, so I can see that they definitely understand those advantages.
Yeah.
This is always certainly important, because I think communication has become very fragmented when it comes to, particularly with guests. So, if they book on Airbnb, they've got the app. Airbnb also sends a redundant email as well as a redundant text. Now, what we're doing is we're introducing another text or email or both to the guest. Obviously, they're not downloading any apps here. Do you offer it to be both, either or and, as far as communication goes, two-way communication goes with the guest in-house?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So this gets a little bit dependent on your integration. So we'll start with an Airbnb integration, because that's the simplest, right? You're not getting involved with the PMS. With an Airbnb integration, we actually just pull over, and I'm going to stop sharing. That's okay. I feel like it's better if you guys see my face. With an Airbnb integration, we'll pull over your entire Airbnb inbox into Breezeway. So you have all of that communication. Now you get to manage the day-to-day and your guest communication all through Breezeway. But when those messages are sent out, it just comes back through as a regular Airbnb message sent from the host. So it's a really seamless experience for your guests, and it actually like helps you by centralizing everything in one place. Now, I also spoke to texting your guest, which is very impactful. You do need a PMS integration for SMS texting to your guest. And that's because we all know Airbnb's kind of like security policies, if you will. We need a PMS to actually give us the guest phone number. And this is because you're not just on Airbnb, right? You may be on VRBO, Booking.com, direct bookings. And so you have that information. It's really, really impactful to just text your guests. If you think about traveling, I should say, and the chaos that comes with that. No one wants to have to go click through their email. Maybe their notifications aren't on, or go find an app. Being able to just receive everything that they need directly to their text is a great way to just ease their experience.
Great.
Or
love that. Thank you. Let's see, I'm looking down this was a question I threw out there. Just so again, thank you very much for offering the generous savings for host-to-host members and participants today. I'm curious, because there are members, not sure if anyone here is, but there are members of host-to-host that have multiple properties, many properties. So is there a tiered structure? So maybe the first one is $14.99 that you offered, I believe, at the first plan. What happens if they have 100? Is it the same price?
So we can, if you guys want to connect with me directly, we can talk about, pricing if you guys are getting to 100 properties, or what those bundled discounts look like. Just transparently off the bat here, pricing at 10 plus properties. So the first tier is 1 to 9. Pricing at 10 plus is usually at that $14.99. So you're getting that discounted bundled price already up front if you have under 10 properties.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's see. Thank you for providing those links to community demos. What automated, Nancy had a good question in here. What automated visibility would I have for my guest questions and comments? And Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, if you wanted to speak up, but I believe you're asking about like if they're asking questions back and you're getting that information, it's coming into Breezeway, what kind of automated? Maybe I don't understand it.
No, and I actually like to, we have just one property and we have friends and family that use it. And so I'm very connected to them. So if we're sending out automating messages going out, I'd like to know what's going out to them and when it's going out to them so that I know what they're hearing. My other question that I don't know if you asked is that I'd like to know what kind of platforms you're even using. How are you communicating with them? Are you using Slack? If they're on Slack, do they use that? I mean, there's different ways that we communicate. And so how do I know what they're hearing, which way they're hearing it, how it's getting to them, and what they're replying back?
Yeah, Nancy, I think you'll be excited to see this. I'm just going to share my screen here. So let's go back into the inbox, into our conversations, and let me know if I misunderstood this. But I think what I heard is you share the role of communicating with your guest. So I want to find a good example here. You'll be able to see who's responding to your guest and when, which is great. So you guys can all actually work out of the same inbox. Now, if one person should be responsible for the conversation or something that comes up, you can actually assign out inboxes to your messaging users, which is great. So then okay, this is in my personal inbox. This is my responsibility. I need to take care of this. Now, usually communication when it comes to guests, cleaners, whoever it may be, it's all relevant to something within Breezeway. So with guests, it's probably to, their reservation, their communication. You can actually leave internal notes for your team so you guys are on the same page of what's happening and when.
Nancy,
Does that help clarify?
But that would be that sounds like it would be the $39.99 model.
No, so messaging is included in the Pro plan. What's not included in the Pro plan, and just to provide clarity there, is the 24/7 guest support. And that's where our Breezeway Assist agents come in and actually handle the communication for you. Otherwise, this is all bundled into that Pro plan. So, and I can even go back here and let me just give you guys, sometimes it's easier with the visuals. Operations, guide, and messaging is all bundled into Pro. The add-on to the Elite plan would be our Assist team taking over communication for you, so that can be outsourced.
Okay, so I'm still stuck on how messaging happens and how do you even know how they want to be messaged? How do you find out if they prefer texting versus emailing versus something else?
Yeah, so it all comes down to setting expectations with your guest. So when that confirmation message goes out, once a booking's confirmed, if you're going to be directly texting with them, that's where you would say, hey, we'll be reaching out X days before check-in with your arrival details. If you have any questions, reach out to this number. The great thing about the Breezeway inbox is it's a two-way messaging platform. So you don't just have to automate messages through here. You can receive and send text messages as well by creating a new chat.
So it's all text messaging.
With a PMS integration, yes. Otherwise, with just an Airbnb integration, this would send through your Airbnb channel and platform.
Thank you.
Awesome. I jumped over a question that I actually had in here. I forgot to ask it. So the phone number you're showing, your company number here, is that a dedicated phone number for my property or properties?
Yeah. Yep. So this is a dedicated number, which is great. And you can even customize the area code so it feels a little bit more personalized to your market.
Super. And can I use that number to make actual phone calls to the guests through the Breezeway app?
So that would be that would require our assist team. And we would just accept inbound phone calls.
Okay. So if we're messaging with a guest using this number, using, you know, via the app, if they said, can you call me? You know, sometimes you get to a point, you know, a couple back and forth, it's escalated, you want to have a conversation with them. And I'm saying you, meaning like us as a host, not Breezeway Assist. We would call them, but it would be coming from a different number, i.e. our own phone number.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And that,
Thanks.
and again, that just goes with setting the expectations. I think it's normal when having a hosting business to have like a business number, at least from my experience. So we haven't heard much pushback there.
Understood. Okay, let's see. We got a couple more questions in here, and I want to be conscious of time too. So Daniel's asking something, and I'm not sure if I totally understand this, Daniel. So if you want to speak up, that's great. What are the challenges facing Breezeway?
Interesting. I'd love to hear from Daniel.
Yeah, I was asking, are the challenges facing Breezeway or Breezeway instead of other things? Oh, that's my question.
Okay. Well, what I can do, and let me know if I'm interpreting this wrong, is I can touch on payments, which is our newest release. And this was, I'd say, the biggest thing that was missing from our platform last year. Everyone wanted payments, and we're like, we're working on it. It's going to launch soon. Just bear with us. So we got this launched in March, which is really exciting. Paying out your cleaners through Breezeway should be made so easy. And so you can now do that through ACH payments or credit card payments. We have very standard processing fees, no other fees involved, which is amazing. So you are able to manage all your payments through here. I think hopefully, Anthony, I know you said that, you know, you've seen a lot of new features released, and I'm excited to speak to payments as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for Breezeway to continue to develop and grow within the space. And so we do have, I'd say, a never-ending product roadmap. If there's anything specific that you feel like we aren't checking the box on, let me know, because we may be launching it down the road. And I'm happy to just make that like an open conversation.
Thank you very much. All right, so let me pick see if there's any one last question in here. I think this is a good one. Diana wanted to know where the Assist call center is located.
Yeah, great question, Diana. So our Assist team is, our agents are located in the Philippines. We do have all of our management in the US here. And some people get steered away when they hear that our Assist team is in the Philippines. So I like to just provide some more context there. We very thoughtfully source all of our agents. They go through a pretty rigorous training onboarding to become a Breezeway Assist agent. And actually, all of them, or I shouldn't say all of them, majority of them have 4-year degrees in hospitality. I know we have, I think, a couple of nurses in there, which is always like a fun fact to like to sprinkle in. But yeah. And just to speak to that a little bit further in the service that we provide, you know, Breezeway has a really good reputation in the space. If you do your research, we have amazing client success support. And we've just really made a name for ourselves in the vacation rental space. And so we're coming up on now a year of having Assist as a solution offering. And so when we rolled that out, it's something that has been done very, very thoughtfully, because we have this great reputation, and now stepping in and communicating with your guests creates kind of like, I'd say, like a high risk service to be offering, right? Because it's going to directly impact your reviews. So we went ahead and we have a very amazing team, management, agents, all of them, they're great. And we have a very tailored onboarding process as well to align on expectations throughout the whole process.
The reason why I ask is, you know, oftentimes you call and you get a call center and they stick on script and they speak over you. And that is like that makes me want to change my service or change the
Yeah.
company that I'm using or whatever, because it's like, it makes me more frustrated than the problem at hand is just trying to get through to somebody who you're speaking to, like you mentioned earlier in the presentation. You know, it's the 000, and it's like, I'd rather speak to a 00, you know, a chat person than somebody who is just following script and not thinking through the whole situation. So that's, you know, I'm really picky who was going to represent me in my business, because how personable I am with my own guests.
Yeah, so something to note there is this isn't just a typical call center that, you know, you're quickly hiring. Our team is so familiar with the Breezeway platform, and when we onboard you, we run through business processes. So we want to understand, what do you do if a guest asks for early check-in? What if they're locked out? We have a whole list. We also have all of your property details available in Breezeway. So now we have, you know, this entire database that we can continue to add to and to grow. So between having that and then power of AI too, to help pull in those responses really quickly, we have a really great success. Also, our team is tailored to the vacation rental experience. So all of the guests that we're speaking to are likely short-term rental guests, which is you want to make sure that the communication style is tailored to that experience, because I think you want to approach that in a very specific way, and our team does a really good job at that.
Awesome. Well, we're kind of hitting the buzzer mark here. I wanted to let pass over to Charity. First off, thank you so much, Madison. Charity, I know we have a couple things. We also want to give out the $100 gift card. So Charity, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And thank you so much, Madison. That was super interesting presentation that you provided. I really appreciated learning about all of the different ways that I could automate things. Honestly, I was like, I wish this would have come out a couple of years ago, because I really could have optimized my property management business with some of these tools. So especially like just keeping all the communications with your cleaner in one place and being able to assign cleaner, just all of that. We were using a few different systems to cobble that together. So just having one area to manage that, I could see that would help out a lot. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, everyone, for attending and asking great questions. As you probably know, Host to Host is a nonprofit trade organization that is basically founded by hosts, helping hosts. So it is a host-to-host organization. And what I would like to do now is, if you're not already a member, is to invite you to become a member, a dues-paying member, because it's something that helps us support our hosting community and to just keep hosting alive and vital in our communities. And I encourage you to consider joining us. We have simplified our membership roles. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them for you. And you can always jump on our website, hosthost.org/join-us, and find out more information.